Purnachandram Shri Venkatarya Guruvarya Dhanuja Ratnam Tasmad Avapta Nigamanta Rahasya Jalam Srimad Stalesaya Gurum Satatam Bhajami. In the last episode, we saw about how Sriman Narayana is the first matchless mother. There is one thing I wanted to mention that which got left out from that video, which I wanted to share with you all today, which is another example given by a great Acharya called Pillai Lokacharya. I did mention the name Pillai Lokacharya in the previous episode. He is one of the greatest Acharyas who gave us 18 Rahasya Granthas, where he has provided pretty much to talk about everything that we need to know about the Jivatma and the Paramatma Swarupa. Okay. Now with that, there is an example that he uses for how Sriman Narayana is the indweller in all of us. Is the indweller in all of us. So there are 5 forms of Sriman Narayana. Those 5 forms are called Param, Vyuham, Vibhavam, Antaryami and Archay. The Param is the form in which he is in the Paramapadam or the Sri Vaikuntham. The Sri Vaikuntham is that land which is beyond all of the land that are going to be destroyed in the event of the Pralayam, and it is called the Nitya Vibhuti. The Nitya Vibhuti means it is going to be there all the time. It's Nityam. Nityam means one that is there forever. Vibhuti means the Aishwaryam or the wealth. So that is the Nitya Vibhuti. And this world is in what is called the Leela Vibhuti. That is, this is the place that is being created and destroyed. It keeps getting created every Pralaya Kalam, etc. Okay. So the in the Nitya Vibhuti, the form that he takes is called the Paramapadam or the Param. The next form that he takes is called the Vyuham. The Vyuham is where he is in the Milky Ocean, where he lies in the Milky Ocean. And the purpose of the Vyuha form is for him to listen to the prayers, the woes and the miseries, and the prayers for the removal of the miseries from not people like us, but from the Devas, Indra, Brahma, etc. So that's where he lives. So that place is called Kuppeedu Ketkumidam, which means the place where he is there to listen to the prayers and to the request, the call for help. So that is the Vyuha form. Para, Vyuha. The third one is Vibhavam. Vibhavam means time and again Sriman Narayana takes birth. One who does not have any birth takes birth. And he takes birth as Rama, as Krishna, as Varaha, as Narasimha, as Vamana, and he is going to come as Kalki. So he takes all those forms for Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Cha Dushkritam. That is, to be able to remove the enemies of his devotees and to be able to protect his devotees and give them what they want. So he comes for that reason. So that is the Vibhava form. And then the fourth form is called Antaryami. The fourth form is called Antaryami, where he is the indweller in all of us. So there is no being. In the last video I talked about Chit, Achit and Ishwaran. And there is no entity. So those are the 3 entities. They are called the Tattva Trayam. There is no entity where he is not the indweller. So why does he reside as the indweller? And the reason that is provided by this great Acharya called Pillai Lokacharya is that he is Iramadam Uttuvarai Pole. And we'll explain a little bit about what that Iramadam Uttuvarai Pole means. So let's just say there is a son. And the son, he fights with his parents for whatever reason. And then he decides to leave the house. He says, I'm not going to live with you anymore. I've had enough. I'm going to go and find my own way. Okay. So he goes and then he finds a matham. A matham is like, in those days, there's those mathams used to be those places where pretty much anybody can come and stay for any point of time, etc. So this person, because he fought with his parents, he says, I'm no longer going to live in this house and I'm going to go live elsewhere. So he goes to this matham. But then he is hungry in that matham. But if he's hungry, he knows that, oh, if he's hungry, he can go back to his mom and ask her for food. She's going to give it at any point in time. But his ego, right, that does not let him do that. He's not going to do it because he just fought with his parents and he came, right? He fought with his mom. So he's not going to be able to go back to that same house and ask for anything. So he tries to starve. But this mother, she knows very well that her son is going to be starving. So what she does is she goes to the caretaker of the mutt and she says, hey, here is some food. If I give it to him, he will not accept it. So can you please go and offer it as something that you offer? So he does not have to know that I am the one that gave this food. So then the caretaker of the mutt, he can go and give it to the son, and the son will happily eat it because he wants it, right? And it's not given to him by his mother, so he'll be okay. So similarly, Sriman Narayana resides as that indweller in us. So we don't realize it. We don't realize that he is there to care for us and to take care of us and to give us what we want, which is with the ultimate goal of being able to go to him. So that needs to happen. So he resides like that indweller in all of us, and that form is called Antaryami. The fifth form is called Archay. The Archay is the form that we worship him in the temples, in the idol icon forms, where he takes that shape and he resides in the temples and the houses as in the Vigraha Rupams, etc., where he offers so much saulabhyam, that is, he's so simple that he is at our disposal. So that is the Archay form. Now, the reason for him for taking all of these forms is because he cares about us. He wants the best for us. So just like how a mom would do anything to take care of her children, Sriman Narayana would pretty much do anything. He will take any form, whether he could come as a varaha, he could come as a boar, he could come as a pig, he could do all that. And he does all of that. He can be one of the devas. See, among the devas, he comes as the brother of Indra when he comes as Vamana, because he wants to identify with the rest of the devas. When he comes as a fish, when he comes as a boar, and he wants to identify with those animals. So he has no discrimination. And he takes all of those forms. He comes as a human. He comes as a human because he believes that, okay, I've given all of these shastras. So he gives us all these shastras so we can learn those shastras and identify ways in which we can go back to him. But then those don't really help, because we are those lazy people, or we are not interested in following those shastras. We think that those shastras are too hard to follow. And then what we end up doing is we end up doing whatever we want to. So then he decides, okay, then maybe let me take birth as a human, and that's why he takes the form of Rama, Krishna, etc. He lives amongst us. He gives us so much of teachings, upadesams. He shows, when he comes as Rama, he shows how to live. So we can learn, we can see him as the role model and follow. And when he comes as Krishna, he gives us lots of upadeshams like we have in Bhagavad Gita, etc. Yet we discard all of that. Then he decides, okay, what else can I do? So these people, they discard me because they reject me and my preachings because they think that I'm somebody else. I don't belong to their class. So it's called Vijatiya Sajatiya. Sajatiya means the same breed, the same jati. Vijatiya means a different breed. Okay, so then he decides, okay, since this is not working at all, now let me hand pick some people and give them blemishless knowledge. So those hand picked people are called the Arvars. So from the works of these Arvars, Pillai Lokacharya, an Acharya, he has gone through all of these works. He used to listen to the discourses provided by a great Acharya called Nampillai of the work called Thiruvaimozhi, and it is the essence of all of that Pillai Lokacharya and Azhagiya Manavala Perumal Nayanar composed in a lot of these Rahasya Granthas. And in one of those Rahasya Granthas called Mumukshapadi is where Pillai Lokacharya talks about this example of Iramadam Uttuvarai Pole. That is, he is like one, he is like the indweller. So just like how the son does not know it was the mom that provided the food, this Jivatma does not know that it is this indweller, this Sriman Narayana, who resides in them at all times and is the guiding light and is the guiding force for all of us and trying to keep us all in the right path. Okay. So now I promised in the last episode that in the second episode I'll talk about the next matchless mother, who is Sri Mahalakshmi herself. So she is Akhila Jagan Mataram. Bhagavad Ramanuja, he performs Sharanagati, he performs his surrender to the divine couple on this day called Panguni Utram. He chooses this day Panguni Utram because in Sri Rangam, that is the only day on which Sri Ranganayaki Tayar and Sri Ranganatha Perumal Namperumal, they come together and they give us the Seve. That is the only day. So now, that is the day he chooses, Bhagavad Ramanuja chooses to surrender. Why is that? Why does he choose that particular day? So we'll talk about that a little bit. Now, we talked about how Sriman Narayana is the mother in the previous episode, right? Now, even though he is like the mother, he is still very, very independent. When he is very, very independent, what that means is that even though he has the compassion, because he is so independent that he is beyond anybody's questioning, he can choose to do whatever he wants. Now, that does not mean that he will do what he wants, but he can choose to do what he wants. He has that ability. Now, if that is the case, then consider us. So, if you look at us, the Jivatmas, then we will know that we've done so many apacharams, we've committed so many sins. We have all of these undesirable qualities in us. With all of these undesirable qualities, it is very, very possible that when we go and surrender to him directly, then he might just look at all of that and say, "Oh my God, what did you do?" So if you've been so if you've been one who's committed so much of sins, then you know what? I think it is right. It is the right thing for you to go and suffer the consequences of those sins. So he could choose to do that. So what is our protection then? Or who recommends for us? That recommendation is done by Sri Mahalakshmi or Thayar. In when Bhagavad Ramanuja performs his Sharanagati, he composes the Gadyatrayam. The first of those is called Sharanagati Gadyam. And in the Sharanagati Gadyam, when he surrenders, he does that surrender on behalf of or with the presence of, he uses Ranganayaki Tayar as the mediator. Om Bhagavan Narayanaabhimataanurupa Swarupa Rupa Guna Vibhavaishwarya Sheeladhyanavadikatishaya Asankheya Kalyana Gunaganam Padmavanalayam Bhagavatim Shriyam Devim Nityanapayinim Niravadhyam Devadeva Divyamahishim Akhila Jagan Mataram Asman Mataram Asharanya Sharanyam Ananya Sharanaha Sharanamaham Prapadye. Sharanamaham Prapadye is what he says. So he does his Sharanagati. He says, Akhila Jagan Mataram. You are the one who is the mother for the entire world. Akhila Jagan Mataram. Asman Mataram. He says, you are my mother too. You are my mother too. So I surrender to both of you. And it is she, Sri Mahalakshmi, who ensures that Sriman Narayana will not leverage his independence and reject us. She is always there by his side to ensure that to anybody that surrenders, or if even people are not going to surrender, so how can she invoke those qualities of compassion, of kripa, and ensure that he will accept us? So that is done by Sri Mahalakshmi. So she becomes the next matchless mother. In fact, it is probably not even right to say that she is the next matchless mother, because Sri Mahalakshmi is considered to be even one step superior compared to Sriman Narayana. So with that, then you always approach this way. Our Sampradayam is called Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam. It is her gunams. It is because of her that Perumal is willing to ignore all our blemishes. Now let's see a few examples where this has happened. So we'll go back to Ramayana. So I say Ramayana, but it is actually Sri Ramayana. That is, it is the Valmiki, when he composes the Ramayana, he says it is Sitaya's Charitam Mahat. It is the Charitam of Sri Mahalakshmi, of Sri Devi, of Sita Devi herself. That is the Charitam. And it is in Sri Ramayanam where she expounds all of these qualities. Or we can see it very, very obviously. So the first one that we are going to see is the Vrittantam or the Charitram of Kakasura. So Kakasura, or the Asura who came in the form of a crow. Now who was he? He is called Jayanta, and he was the son of Indra. So we all know the story of Sri Ramayana, where Rama was banished to the forest. So Rama goes to the forest and Sita goes with him. When Sita goes with him, Sita and Lakshmana, both of them go. When both of them go, at that point in time, they are all in the Chitrakuta. So Chitrakuta is the place, the mountain where Rama is with Sita, and on the banks of the Mandakini river. So both of them, both Rama and Sita, they go play in the waters, just like how we have water parks here, right? And we like to go play in those water parks. So the natural water parks of those days were the rivers. So they do what is, it's called Jala Kridai, which means they play in the waters of Mandakini. They swim, they have fun, and then they are resting. So now they are resting, where Rama is resting on the lap of Sitama, of Pirati. So he is resting. Now when he is resting, the son of Indra, his name is Jayanta, he has this weird wish. Now he sees Sita and he wants to trouble her. So he takes the form of a crow and he comes and starts pecking at her chest. So at first Sita tries to just shoo the crow away. So just a crow, so let's just shoo this crow away and the crow will go away, because Rama is sleeping on her lap. So she doesn't want to disturb Rama. She feels, okay, let Rama sleep peacefully. So he's so tired, let him get his rest, because they've both played in the waters, right? So just like how when you come out of a swimming pool, you feel sort of tired and you want to have and that night the child will have a really nice and peaceful and deep sleep. Now here Rama is sleeping. Because Rama is sleeping, so she doesn't want to disturb him. So she tries to just shoo the crow away. But the crow does not want to go, because the crow's intention is to cause harm or to do mischief onto Sita. So he keeps pecking at her chest repeatedly. Sita tries to shoo, nothing happens. At one point, the blood starts coming out of her body. So that blood, it drops and wakes Rama up. So now Rama wakes up and then he's so mad. He's like, how dare this crow do this to my wife? So he picks up a grass that's just next to him, and then he uses that as the weapon and to shoot on the crow. Now what happens is the crow, who's none other than Indra, Jayanta, he just goes back. He goes back to everybody that he knows and asking for help. But nobody is willing to help him, because they all know that the weapon that is chasing him is the weapon of Sri Rama. So nothing works. So then he thinks that his mother can protect him. So Indra's wife is Indrani. So he goes to her and she pretends as though she's dressing up. She's wearing her kajal. So she pretends that, and then she's like, oh, I don't have the ability to protect you, go away. Then he goes to Indra. When he goes to Indra, then Indra also does not protect. He's like, what? He looks at Jayanta and he says, do you think I'm a fool? Do you think I'm a fool who is going to incur the wrath of Sri Rama? And Sri Rama himself has taken birth in this world only because all the devas went to Sriman Narayana. Remember the place I said? Vyuham, Kuppidu Ketkumidam. So they go there and they say, oh, this Asura called, this Rakshasa called Ravana, he is troubling us so much. So please, please, please protect us from that Rakshasa called Ravana. And and Sriman Narayana says, don't worry, I will come and protect you. That is why he is born as Rama. So he says, you do something stupid. So Indra tells his son, you do something stupid like this, and then do you want me to come and protect you? And what ability do I even have to protect you? I am nobody in front of Rama, so I cannot really help you. Now then what happens is, this guy Jayanta, by this time he gets the name Kakasura because of the mischief, of the mean things that he did. So Kakasura now decides to go back and fall at Sri Rama's feet only. So when he comes back, Sita and Rama are there and he falls at his feet. Now Sita is there, right? She's the mother. So she is one who will always forgive because that is her nature. So because of her, because of her and her compassion, they forgive this Asura, Kakasura. And but then Rama's astram cannot go waste. So he takes away one eye. That is why it is said that crows are all, they have a unilateral vision. They don't have the bilateral vision. So he does that. So now Pillai Lokacharya says that Aval Sannidiyale Kakam Talai Petrathu. That is, it is because Sita was also there, that is why Rama did not kill the Kakasura. And you can see the rock, the boulder on which Sri Rama and Sita Devi, they were resting, and this whole Kakasura Vrittantam happened in Chitrakoot even today. That place is called Spatika Shila, and Adian just happened to visit that place about 2 months ago. It's very, very wonderful. It's by the rivers of the beautiful Mandakini. The Mandakini sports a nice lush green color there because of all the trees that are surrounding that area, and you can see this Spatika Shila there. So it's because of her. So now coming back to Sita's compassion, it is because of that compassion that the Kakam, or the crow, the Asura who came in the form of crow, got, his life was saved. Now on the other hand, think of what happens to Ravana. Ravana was killed by Rama. Now Sita Devi, she gives him so many opportunities. She says, you don't even have to apologize. So just let me go. She says, give me back to Sri Rama and he will forgive you. But he does not do any of that. And and Ravana was killed by Sri Rama when Sita Devi was not there. It's because Ravana did not have the anugraham of Sita Devi, or he was not there, or she was not there with Rama at the time. That is why his life was lost. So this is an episode that talks about the compassion of Sita Devi, of the mother, of how she is compassionate about all of us. Now coming back to how she mediates for all of us. The way she mediates for all of us is, apparently, if we go and when we surrender to Sriman Narayana might say, oh, this Jivatma, you've done so much of papams, you've done so many sins, so I'm not going to accept you. But then what will happen is Sita Devi, who's right next to him, or Sri Mahalakshmi, Sri Devi Tayar, who's right next to him, she'll say, no, no, who is there who's not done any papam? There is nobody like that. So you have to forgive him and you have to accept him. Now, where has she said this? She said this again when she came as Sitama, in Sri Ramayanam, when Hanuman comes. So Hanuman meets Sita Devi multiple times in Ashokavanam. The first time is when he comes in search of her, when he prays with subservience that Sita Devi has to show herself to him. That is the first time he sees. And then before he leaves for before he leaves back for to meet Rama, he comes and meets her again. And then after the war is won, he comes back. After Rama defeats Ravana, he comes back to Ashokavanam where Sita is imprisoned, and he says, Rama has won. Now, please give me. He says, I want one boon. Sita says, okay, what boon can I give you? You've brought this very, very nice news to me, so I have to give you a boon. So tell me what boon I can give you. At that point in time, Hanuman says, you know what is the boon I want? All these Rakshasas who tortured you all these 10 months, right? I want to crush them in my hands. He says, I want to crush them in my hands and I want to kill them. You have to give me permission for that. But Sita, she says, oh Korange, oh you monkey. That's what she says. Oh you monkey, what did you think? Papanam va, Shubhanam va. That's called the Sita Charama Slokam. She says, who is there who's not done any papam? They were just following the orders of their master. You know, you cannot do this. She protects all of those Rakshasas. And she says, all of these Rakshas, they're just following their orders. Now if somebody else is the master, whatever they say, they're just going to follow those orders. So there is no way I will let you even lay a finger on them. So she expresses that compassion as a compassionate mother for everybody. So when the Jivatma goes to the Paramatma and surrenders, and if the Paramatma at any point will say that, oh Jivatma, you've done so many papams, I'm not going to accept you, she is the one who says, who is there who's not done any of these papams? That's what she says. And this is that of Sri Mahalakshmi, of Sri Devi Tayar. Now Bhudevi Tayar apparently will say, oh, there is nobody who's done any papam in this world. If Srimanarayana, okay, Sita Devi, this is what she is saying. She is saying that everybody has done papam. Who's there who's not done any papam? So let them go. Just forgive them. Then Srimanarayana will turn to the other side, look at Bhudevi Tayar and will say, okay, what do you say? Then she will say, there is nobody who's done any papam in this world. That is how compassionate Bhudevi Tayar is. Her name itself is Shama, tolerance. She tolerates all of us. See, we do so many things, right? We stomp, we do excretions, we pollute the world, we do all of these things. But she patiently tolerates all of this. That is Bhudevi Tayar. And Neela Devi Tayar is one step further. Apparently, she will say, there is no such thing called papam in this world. So Sita Devi will say, there's nobody who's not done any papam. And Bhudevi Tayar will say, there is nobody who's done any papam. And Neela Devi Tayar will say, there is no such thing called papam. So the three of them, they ensure that Srimanarayana will always accept, they mediate on behalf of us and they make sure that Srimanarayana accepts us. So that is the second episode of the Matchless Mothers series. Now in the next series, we are going to talk about the compassion of Nammalvar. Madhurakavi Alvar, he says, Annayai Attanai Yennai Yandidum Tanmayan Sadagopan en Nambiye. So we will see that in the next episode. Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Alvar Emperumanar Jiyar Thiruvadigalé Sharanam.